to receive the Order of Lincoln from Park Ridge, Illinois, the Honorable Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Thank you very, very much for this extraordinary honor. It touches me a great deal. I want to express appreciation to the Academy, to all the laureates, former and today. Governor, thank you very much for being with us and for your leadership and your deep concern about the people of this state. As the citation said, I was born in Edgewater Beach Hospital some years ago. Hospital's no longer there, I am. And lived for the first 3.5 years in Lincoln Park with my World War II Chief Petty Officer veteran father, who had served at Great Lakes, preparing to send young sailors to the Pacific, and my mother, who had come back to Chicago, where she was born, after she finished high school in California, and worked as a secretary and met my dad. I am so grateful for the experiences that I had growing up here. The quality of education and opportunity that I was given, the support that I saw at every turn, the great joy of coming into Chicago as first an elementary school child, coming to this museum, for example, and all of the other great institutions that the generosity of generations of Chicagoans had made possible. Taking the class trip to Springfield to see where Mr. Lincoln had begun his political career. Coming back into the city once I got into high school for other purposes, and being part of what was a great era of excitement and optimism. Going to Foster Avenue Beach on occasion with one of my dear friends from 6th grade, who's here tonight, Betsy Ebeling, and a lot of our other friends with whom we've stayed in touch, playing 16-inch softball, which does not exist anywhere else in the universe. I am very appreciative of what this city and state gave first to my parents. My father was a small businessman and made a good living for his family because of the work that he did, first in a small office in the Merchandise Mart, and then later in a small printing plant that he established for his very entrepreneurial efforts. And to have the chance to come and be with so many of the people who have made this state such an exceptional place in memory of the greatest president who ever served our country is very special indeed for me. So I want to thank the Academy, and I particularly want to thank all of you who are supporting the scholarships that come from this work. That is the most important investment that can be made in the next generation of Chicagoans and Illinoisans and Americans who will perhaps be moved by the example of President Lincoln and continue to do all that needs to be done to unify this exceptional country on behalf of the values that he gave his life for. Thank you very much.
Today, we honor Coach K and his many successes, the great of which has been his magnificent ability to help others succeed. To receive the Order of Lincoln from Chicago, Illinois, Michael Krzyzewski.
Today would be a great day just being here or in any location receiving this. But to be receiving it in Chicago, 3 miles from where I grew up on Damon and Augusta. It's now Ukrainian Village. And to be in really walking distance to where my mom and dad worked. My dad worked as an elevator operator at Willoughby Tower, and my mom cleaned offices at the Chicago Athletic Club. And my mom never went to high school, and my dad only went to 2 years of high school. But they had the spirit of Chicago, and they had the spirit of being in Illinois. They took advantage of the rich, fertile soil that's in this state and in this community, and were able to help me and my brother grow. As a result of that growth and their guidance, we kept putting ourselves in other good soil. I was fortunate to put myself in the soil of the United States Military Academy, and be a graduate, be an Army officer, and then to coach there, and now be at Duke, which has pretty fertile soil too, for over 3 decades. And really, I was just following my mom's advice. Yeah. Education doesn't mean you're wise. Hopefully those who are educated learn wisdom to use with their education. But my mother was wise. And the night before, I went from St. Helens Parish, and we're celebrating our 100th anniversary. I'm going to come back in June for a big fundraiser and celebrate it. And there are eight of the kids here today helping out, which is kind of crazy good. It's an amazing thing. Yeah, my mom told me before I went to Weber High School, Weber's no longer in distance, I think we got tired of beating Fenwick. And Fenwick did something to block us with fundraising or whatever. And but my mom told me, she said, Michael, tomorrow when you go to high school, your world's going to change. And I was a smart butt kid, I was an inner city kid, you knew everything. And I said, come on, Ma, I'm just going to high school. She says, I want to make sure you get on the right bus. And Ma, I take Damon to Armitage there, I can take Division to Grand, and I'm there. And she says, that's not the bus I'm talking about. I said, what bus are you talking about? And she says, you're going to start driving your own bus. And you're going to meet new people, and your world is going to change starting tomorrow. And I want you to make sure that whoever gets on your bus is good. And you're going to be asked to get on other people's buses. And you make sure you only get on good buses. And if you do, they'll take you to places you would have never have imagined, and you would have never gotten alone. That's basically the way I've run my whole life. And as a result, all this stuff's happened. And it happened because of a mother who had unconditional support and love, unfailing love, and great wisdom, was able to impart that. And we trusted, my brother and I trusted them enough to follow that advice. My brother passed away this Christmas, day after Christmas. He was a Chicago fire captain. Suddenly, he's my hero. And he embodied he should get this. He should get this. And I'm accepting this award on behalf of my family. And I got in last night. I was at West Point yesterday to speak to the Corps cadets, and they have an award in my name, and anyway, it's a cool thing. And that was nostalgic. And I came in last night, and my best friend in the world is my buddy Mo, Dennis Malinsky. We've been friends since we were 6 years old. And he's been a better friend to me than me to him, but don't tell him. He'll use it against me. And we went out to eat last night, he and his wife Mary, and my sister-in-law Pat, and her 2 nieces and kids, and we celebrated our family. This morning, in order to get into the spirit of this honor, I was able to do something you don't get a chance to do, but I would recommend it to you if you ever have a chance to do this. I wanted to get the feel of being in Chicago and Illinois again. And it's what I do with our Olympic team, with all these superstars. They can see and they can listen, but unless they feel serving their country and being patriotic, we're not going to do well. And so I wanted to feel this award, and believe me, I do. I hope you can see that I feel the award. And what I did is I met my sister-in-law at St. Adalbert Cemetery, and we stopped at my brother's grave. And we had a good moments there, the 2 of us together. And then I visited my mom and dad. And then I left her, we were a little bit emotional. And I went and I know how to maneuver through the city, And anyway, I like it. It's kind of like you think you still got it if you can get through the city, and not use the expressway. I did it, and I think I beat the time. And so I went past Weber High School. It's no longer there, and I just stopped and closed my eyes and tried to get memories. Then I drove past St. Helens and stopped in front of St. Helens. I had to maneuver because the roads are closed and on Augusta Boulevard, but I did it because I'm a city guy and I know how the hell to do it. And I stopped at our playground where I imagined me doing great things, and in my imagination I always won. I played games and I would announce them, and Krzyzewski takes we're down 60-59, Krzyzewski takes the last shot. And if it hit, then I'd scream, and I'm sure there were people around the schoolyard on Augusta and Levitt saying, "Kid's crazy." I guess I was. And if I hit it, I'd go nuts. If I missed it, obviously, in my imagination, we won. Foul. All right? I got fouled. So then I'd go to the free throw line. He's now got 2 free throws. If he hits these, we win. If I, make the first one, miss the second, would only be a tie. Lane violation. And so I imagine myself doing good things. That's really what we try to do at the Emily Krzyzewski Center, is to make sure that kids today imagine themselves doing something good. I did that in Chicago, in the state of Illinois, and the last place I stopped is my home. It's not a flat on 2039 West Cortez Street. And then I came here. This has been one of the best days of my life. And because I got this, came off. I guess I don't deserve it. Is that what you're saying? Please. Father, I know you don't do that to the lawyers. Why are you doing that to the basketball coaches? No one will be more appreciative of this than anyone you've awarded to. More, maybe as much, than me. Believe me, I I love my roots. They're with me all the time. And I congratulate the other winners, the award winners. When I first was informed about this, I said, "Are you sure?" And I likened it to basketball, where they already filled out the team, and I think they needed a walk-on. But it's an honor to be a walk-on on this year's class. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I want to thank Chancellor Tom Johnson for his devotion to the Lincoln Academy. This is the 50th anniversary, 50 special years, and I think we all should applaud Tom for his great, great leadership of this organization. Abraham Lincoln died in 1865, and this academy began in 1964, nearly a century after his passing. And I live in a house in Springfield, the governor's mansion, that Abraham Lincoln, as a legislator, worked to build. Abraham Lincoln visited the governor's mansion on many, many occasions. There are portraits of Abraham Lincoln in the governor's mansion. And in fact, we have a bed owned by Abraham Lincoln in the governor's mansion. I'd invite all of you to come and sleep in Abraham Lincoln's bed, but that might take 50 years. But I think it is important that all of us who live in Illinois, we have a heritage of Abraham Lincoln. And last year, on November 19th of 2013, it was the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. And at his Presidential Library and Museum in Springfield, at exactly midnight on that day, the beginning of that day, we read Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. 272 words. 272 words that sum up the essence of our democracy. Abraham Lincoln believed in democracy more than anything in his whole life. He believed in government of the people, and by the people, and for the people. It shall not perish from this earth. He believed in the people. And I want to tonight commend each of our laureates who have received the Order of Lincoln. They are the people of Illinois in many, many different, diverse ways. They've made our state, our people better. And I think it's important that we honor special men and women who have that ethic of service, who understand, as Abraham Lincoln did, that giving to others is the highest calling of a human being. There are many ways to serve. And I think in the New Testament that Father Senior would tell us about, there are different gifts that people have. God gives different gifts. And I think we've been graced tonight by all of the honorees. They have different gifts that they have given to Illinois. The generosity of those who donate money to great causes and create scholarships. Those who understand the law and practice the law and tell all of us the importance of making sure that our medium, our television and all the other media that we have are positive influences on people's lives. We understand the role of faith. There are many different faiths, but it's important to study faith and understand and have a tolerant culture. I think that's extremely important, especially in these days. I also think that music stirs the soul. I think it's so important that we honor our art, whatever kind of art we have, and especially our music, and to make sure that when we talk about Abraham Lincoln and the Order of Lincoln, we understand how important the arts are to our society and to our culture. I think it's important to have leaders in business who help create jobs and economic development and make sure that we go forward in life in a way that's positive so that we raise up people and they have a standard of living that they can live tolerant and good life with. And I think it's also important to have people who are born in our state who understand the importance of changing the world. And I think our Secretary of State, who is with us today, born in Chicago, raised in Park Ridge, inspires all of us that every person, every boy and every girl has the potential for greatness. And we have to make sure that we aspire to greatness, every single person. And I said to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton when she came in this wonderful place of Illinois, that there was a great student of Abraham Lincoln, a great poet, was once poet laureate of Illinois. His name was Carl Sandburg. And he said, the birth of a baby is God's opinion that the world should go on. And I think that the soon-to-be grandmother who is with us here today understands that our mission on earth, especially those of us who are older and who are adults and parents, we're custodians of the future. We have to make sure that those babies who are born today, in Illinois we have 1 million children between the age of birth and 5 years old. It's our duty to make sure that they have a good future, to make sure they have decent health care, to make sure they have a good education, to make sure that they are treated in a positive and tolerant way, in a way that avoids violence. So that really, to me, is what the Lincoln Academy is all about. It's all about the future. That's what Abraham Lincoln would tell you. He signed during the Civil War a bill establishing land-grant universities, like the University of Illinois that began in 1867. During the Civil War, he made possible the transcontinental railroads. He also understood the importance of being a military leader and honoring those who serve. Abraham Lincoln told us during his life, it's the duty of all of us on the home front to take good care of those who bear the battle and take care of their families. So we today have that duty to take good care of those who've answered the call to duty, to defend our democracy, to defend our government of the people. I think that's one of the great things that the Lincoln Academy can do, is to make sure our society every single day takes care of our veterans and our service members, some of whom need health care or more education or an opportunity for a job. Now, I think I was looking at the program here, this beautiful program, looking at some of the names of the laureates over the years, and one name I happened to spot in 1967, the year I graduated from high school. I went to Fenwick High School, and Coach K, who sat at our table today, he went to Weber, and Weber beat Fenwick, and he made sure that I knew that today. But Coach K, I think when we heard him speak, he's such a humble man. He got off the plane at O'Hare, rented a car, drove his own car, drove through the neighborhoods, made sure that he looked at all the places that were special to his heart. But he then went to St. Adalbert Cemetery to honor the memory of his mother and father and his dear brother. And I think all of us can take a great deal of pride in the fact that our state, the state of Illinois, has brought forward such great people that are with us here tonight, and all the great people that have been mentioned in this program. But one name in 1967 I have to speak about, because it does connect in one way to Abraham Lincoln. And the woman's name is Mahalia Jackson. She was a great singer. When I was coming up, she was the greatest gospel singer on planet Earth. And she was there on August 28th of 1963 when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. came to the Lincoln Memorial. On the steps of the memorial, Dr. King had lived in our city of Chicago, state of Illinois, in 1966. He understood how important it was to speak out about injustice. And so he did that day with his speech. But he was giving his speech towards the end. Mahalia Jackson of Chicago, Illinois, from 8601 South Indiana, right there in our city, in our state. She said, "Tell them about the dream, Martin. Tell them about the dream." And Martin Luther King told all of us about the dream that all of us in the Lincoln Academy need to embrace every single day. Decent health care for everyone, making sure that we have good education for every single person, making sure that we live out the meaning of our creeds and our Constitution. That is really, I think, the mission of this academy and all of those who partake and belong to it, that we have a dream that we must continue. Abraham Lincoln believed in the Union. He believed in the Constitution. He understood that we're never perfect. We want to have a more perfect union. We're always working towards that. And I think today we've made great progress in 50 years. we've been able to make great reforms, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act. We've made life much, much better for those who believe in love, whatever your gender might be. We passed marriage equality, and I signed that bill last year on Abraham Lincoln's desk right here in this city of our state of Illinois. We have a lot more reforms to do in the next 50 years. If we do it together, we'll make the will of people the law of the land. Thank you.